Welcome to our presentation, KWL, an Evolving Reading Comprehension Strategy by Lisa Kirkpatrick and Patricia Marks. In this presentation, we will discuss the outcomes of what we read in 4 articles. The first article compares 3 strategies: the picture walk, KWL, and directed reading thinking activity. This article is called The Effects of 3 Instructional Methods on the Reading Comprehension and Content Acquisition of Novice Readers. The second method compares KWL to a new method the author devises herself called SQUINK. That article is called A Metacognitive Approach to Exploring Text in a Second Grade Classroom. Thirdly, we will discuss the Crowther and Cannon article, Methods and Strategies, Strategy Makeover KWL to THC, and THC stands for Think, How Can We Find Out, and What Do We Conclude? Lastly, we'll discuss the Hirschberger, Zambal-Saul, and Starr article, Methods and Strategies, Evidence Helps the KWL Get a Clue. CLUE stands for Know, What Are We Learning, What is the evidence for what we're learning, and what do we want to learn? Here are the 3 methods discussed in the Doherty-Saul article. The picture walk, which is a pre-reading activity where you view pictures. KWL, which is a know, want to know, and learn activity conducted on a chart, and then the DRTA activity, which is a discussion-led activity for comprehension. In the picture walk, a pre-reading activity, the teacher guides students through a story. They look primarily at graphics such as photographs, graphs, charts, pictures, drawings, anything like that, and students view the pictures and predict what will happen based on those pictures. Everyone has a copy of the text. The pros are that it activates prior knowledge. The cons are that it really only addresses the pre-reading phase. The KWL method is also discussed in this article, and in the KWL chart we have what we know, what we want to know, and what we learned. This activates pre-reading in the what we know and what we want to know, and after reading in the what we learned part of the chart. The pros are that it does demand consideration of the pre-reading phase, and encourages inquiry, and it also encourages kids to talk about what they learned. The cons are that it's unproven, which was concluded in Doherty-Saul's article, and that there is little explicit during reading activity. Finally, the article discusses DRTA, Directed Reading Thinking Activities. This is a cycle in which teachers sit with students and everyone has a copy of the same text. They discuss what they know about the text, whatever the story might be about, sharks, bees, whatever they're looking at, and then they predict what they think might happen based on a story walk or picture walk. And then they read to a certain point and the teacher establishes stops during the text. Once they've read to that certain point, the students talk about what they read, they justify any predictions they may have had, or they decide that predictions may have been incorrect. Then they read again to the given stop, they validate again what they might have predicted, and go on, and they continue this cycle throughout the reading until the teacher has had them finish what she wanted them to do. The pros to this is that all reading phases are activated. The cons really are none. This is a very good reading comprehension tool. And Doherty-Saul concluded that this was actually the best reading comprehension tool that she studied between the 3, the KWL, the picture walk, and the DRTA. In the article on metacognitive thinking, a metacognitive approach to exploring text, Capraro developed something that she wanted to use with her students called SQUINK instead of KWL. Here she states, "My goal was for the children to mentally interact with text before, during, and after reading. The SQUINK method differs from KWL in that students use the format throughout their readings or during the reading process, not just before and after." The pros in this method are that all reading phases are activated, similar to the DRTA, and the cons are that there really is a lack of research to support it. This is what a SQUINK looks like for Capraro's classroom. You can see it's very similar to a KWL, but she discussed at length schema with her classroom, so that first chart here is the schema chart, and they were discussing the Underground Railroad. So as you can see, the first entry is it wasn't a railroad at all. It was a railroad to freedom. Second section of the chart, the Q, I wonder if it's telling about someone. So this is where the children listed their questions. And finally, they listed their new knowledge gained from what they read. Capraro felt it was very important, as most of the studies indicate for reading comprehension, that they build schema. She talked at length with her students about building schema and what schema was, and this photograph just shows a child looking at a fish, obviously fishing. Any kind of experience builds schema for children, and that gives them background knowledge to learn about everything that they're reading and learning about. Questioning obviously was another part of this squink method, and Capraro just had them think about questions to prepare them for what might be coming up in the text. It helps students create new context for the new information that they're going to learn. Inferring, it's a little comic relief here. The cat in the corner there is a little revealing as to what may have happened in this cartoon. And of course, we have to infer what happened. We can't actually see it, just in the same way that in text, children have to look at picture or word cues to infer information that might not be explicitly stated. And finally, in the Squink method, new knowledge. Students construct new knowledge based on what they read through inferences, the questions that they came up with, predictions that they had, everything that they use and bring to the table of reading comprehension. So they come up with new ideas, and then actually in Squink, she had them research their new ideas. So this was a very good, similar to DRTA, very good total reading comprehension approach.